Hi everybody. So I wanted to come on in the group and look at some of the things that have been posted and maybe comment on some posts and some charts. And I was just on a show with Christy Warnick, and she has a weekly show where she's interviewing people that are using different modalities to, for kind of self-development, but also just like kind of frequency work, energy work to open up, for more expansion and more love, and to dissolve, transcend, letting go of contraction and fear. So you can check that out. I guess that many people in this group are already a bit past that when it comes to the gene keys and human design. It was kind of introductory. There was a point though that I feel is very important, that the sphere evolution in our charts is just like super, super important. And of course, it's connected to the life's work, because that's programming partner. We really see how those, like especially the shadow patterns of the life works and the evolution, how that can be like a lifelong theme or story that we seem to not be able to get out of. And then what the kickback that I will always speak about, what that does then in the radiance and the purpose in the shadow frequencies there, what that does with the shadow in the sphere of attraction in the relationships, and then how it affects the core wound and how that loop is created. So that's something to check out in your own charts. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna start sharing in the group and see what's there. Okay, so here's something cool. So Melinda has been posting about the line contemplation, and this is a bit the same thing as I was speaking about in the sphere evolution, that basically it is really by looking at the line in the sphere evolution that we can understand what's going on. The gene key can be a bit complex, and yeah, it's in our imprint, but if we want to simplify, we can look at the line. So we are gonna start a module with Melinda and Ashley this week, actually, about the lines, and to see how can you look at your profile, both human design and gene keys, actually from the line language. And as you know, we have 6 lines for each gate or gene key. So it's to understand the tone of each line and how that connects into the physical body as well, and the energetic body, can just help us to start feeling our profile in a way that I feel is pretty amazing. Yeah, so it's here. Yeah, you can actually check out the video I did on those lines. I think I spoke about either just the life's work and the evolution, or I spoke about a little bit about the whole activation sequence. So here you have some insight in what we are going to do in that module, and how you can sign up in different ways. Here I was posting about some statistics. Like I think it's interesting to see the people that I work with, and often they're like harmonic lines to me. So I'm a 4-6, so often I work with 4-6s, or I work with 1-3s, because those are harmonics. It's the lower trigram 1-3, and then the higher trigram is 4-6. It's the kind of, there's a resonance there. And when I do something that is more business related, I often work with 5-1s, like to see the people are in your life, and to see in what like area of your life they're in, and if you work as a coach or something like that, it's so interesting to see what are the profiles, for example, you work with, or the inner authorities, and sometimes I'm thinking, maybe it would be better to only work with people that are like you, because you can understand each other. And then I realized that there's also beauty. I grew up with a mom that was emotional authority, and I'm sacral, and I'm nothing in the emotional center, and I actually probably know her. I probably know the emotional authority almost better, because I was open, so I was amplifying that all the time, right? So there is something also with the wisdom that we can have from the open centers, and that's why I feel as well that so many reflectors that work as guides, in human design, they are amazing, because they have the wisdom in all the centers, basically. So, and here, yeah, connection charts this month. You can write to me on the page that I just started, to kind of not have everything in the same messenger, because I take a long time for me to get to the actual messages that have to do with with work. Okay, and here, okay. So yeah, I know there were some people had posted charts. I kind of wanted to. Okay, here's Lenny. And I think, yeah, I think she said that she was German. And let's see, let's just open it up. It's a bit small. Can I make it bigger? Okay. Okay, so here we have a manifesting generator. Let's see, single definition, strategy to respond, profile 6-2, emotional authority, what I just said about my mom, which means that this center is filled in, and that you're here to live, to feel a lot, and to live a lot of experiences where feelings are strong. And then the cross of spirit, which is also that channel that my mom has, for example, and that sometimes can be a bit overwhelming when we are with a person, and that person is emotional, and like in my case, I have the center open. So let's start to see the incarnation cross, the cross of spirit. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so manifesting generator and has this classical, in this chart we have the classical channel 3420, which is that kind of, it's a person that it's often is quite busy and that is like not available all the time. And here we have a 6-2, so it's an interesting profile. So it's actually somebody transpersonal who is always including the other in kind of everything that you think. You're also including the other, and at the same time there is this kind of activity going on. And you could see, I could say that both for this kind of physical activity kind of, or even, yeah, I would say that this is most like a physical activity. Here it's about experience. So it's really the experimental way. So it's a more abstract kind of hunger and a little bit of turbulence that are like pushing you to adventure and to like, yeah, to just really have human experiences. And then you could say that on an emotional plane and a spiritual plane, the 5539 is also that kind of movement all the time. And it's a wave movement. And it's sometimes really, can go really low and feel hard, and then it can go really high. So it's that kind of spirit that takes you on. Sometimes it can feel like a roller coaster, and sometimes it can feel like beautiful waves. But there is those like all the colors and the range of emotions. So two channels going out from this emotional center, which even accentuates that emotional authority of like having a life that is very rich. Um, and that is basically, and then do we have a channel here? No, we don't have a channel between the sacral and the root, but everything is connected, you can see. So it's a single definition, and there's not like a split, so that we have, for example, the sacral being away from the throat and the emotion, for example. And that's good, because when we are a manifesting generator or a generator, we want to make sure that this is like the main center, you could say. The sacral center is where we have our most precious asset. It's our life force, and that life force is being used. It's kind of a treasure box, and every time you do something, you pay with a coin, and you want to make sure that something comes back, so you don't drain your life force. And there are quite a lot of activations here. So there is also a beautiful ability to connect, like tantric connections, when we see that the sacral center is connected to the G center, the heart and the life force connected. So I guess that with other people, you can have those strong connections if they have the second gene key or gate or the 15th. Then that would connect you guys, and it's kind of just like you put the charts on top of each other, and you see what gets filled in that sense. And so the main center, what we have as an asset is the life force, and then we have this beautiful emotional, like feeling a lot and being in movement. We have a perseverance as well. So even when it's hard, or there is this like resilience somehow to be able to have the perseverance for the things that you feel are worth it and that you believe in. And then the connection to the throat, we have talents and skills that can come from repetition, but it's also an enormous versatility. You can see somehow you have on both sides here, from the 35 and 16. And let's see, what do we have more? Yeah, and then the 20th, the awareness in the now. So I would say that all this is kind of working together, and that's where you want to live from. You want to live from saying yes, kind of from your sacral center, be grounded in your root. You have this complex with all the beautiful emotions that you can also express, and probably express them through your talent, through your versatility, through just being really present in the now. And also there is a bit of adventure, just for the sake of adventure. And this is kind of how the energy moves in the body graph. Then we have the open centers. So the open centers we take in the outside and we filter it through us. So we can either become really, really conditioned and influenced by it, or we could become really wise because we get to feel and see other people and their processes through these centers. And here we have 5 open centers, so it's quite a lot. So there's a lot of things that could influence you from the outside. So with the head and the mind, you really have the beautiful ability to be very open-minded, not judgmental, like really play with different systems, be a synthesizer. And the not self theme here. So if you allow yourself to be influenced instead of being in your own truth, then you could feel like you need to have all the answers, and you need to be certain about things, and you could kind of torture yourself with that. And that is not something that you want to do. So really, it's okay to not be certain. It's okay to not have all the answers, and don't get stuck on that, but really play with ideas and with energy and with your insights and your epiphanies. And they're there as inspiration more than anything else, and inspiration for other people too. You don't have to explain everything, actually. And that leads us in also to the open ego, completely open ego, no activations, has to do with worthiness. And somebody with this center open can feel like you have to prove you're good enough all the time, in different ways, like doing a lot for other people, or over promising, or just like having a really good job or making money. And this is there's something with the inherent worthiness. I have this center completely open as well. So I know that sometimes even hard to grasp, what does worthiness mean when you have the center open? What I've seen though is that people that have this open often, when you kind of understand it yourself, you can help others, and you can help people see that right now in society, we are kind of just like running in a wheel, trying to have more and be more, and that somehow needs to be balanced, or needs to stop even, otherwise it can lead to exhaustion, and really it's kind of draining our self-love as well. And then you have the G center open. It's about love, direction, and identity. And there could be this tendency of looking for that outside of yourself. So you really want to come back to yourself and your own inner guidance and your own like universal kind of love, instead of feeling that inside of you, instead of looking outside of yourself for where you're going and thinking that it depends on somebody else than you. And then you have a lot of activations in the spleen, which means that, that there is something with, you're here to kind of be responsible in a way, like to live, to feel the fear of tomorrow and how bad it could go, and the fear of failure, and the fear of like, that the corruption and the purposelessness and all that. And at the same time, it's so important for you to not hold on to things that are actually not good for you. That is the not self of the spleen. So anything that lingers in your life for a while, you want to ask yourself, is this good for me emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually? And if it's not, to learn to cut that off. And it's these gates really tells us what can be done better, and to kind of help us to go out of corruption. The thing is that when this is open, you are still influenceable. So that's why you want to really ask yourself, what am I keeping in my life? And to be a little bit more strong, maybe in the sense that you can cut off the weed. If you go into a garden, you cannot like water all the plants. There are some weeds that need to be taken out, and to be able to do that, and you have that unique ability to kind of look at things and see how they can be done better. And that is there as a quality, but it's not worth it if the environment is not good for you, if the people are not good for you, then it's better to drop it, I would say. And well, so just something about the profile. So you're a 6-2 profile. You're here to become a role model. The first 30 years of your life is a lot of trial and error. You're always somebody who's going to have a lot of experiences. You're going to be quite busy. So you're going to play with intimacy. You're going to play with, freedom. Going to play with your determination and be versatile. That's always there. You're going to have more discernment after the age of 28. That's going to start, and you might even feel like you're going up on the roof, and that you're living a life that is a little bit less in movement and action, maybe for a while, so that you can discern what's good for you, what's not good for you, and what you want to put in energy, and what you want to be determined in. And then after 50, you come down and you can share with the world from a role model perspective much more. And a role model perspective is that you kind of walk your talk. You walk in the world, you walk your vision, and when you walk your vision, other people follow. And it's so important for you to not compromise. There's one thing, again, going back to the sphere of evolution, if there's one thing for you so important, is to not compromise, and especially not when it comes to intimacy. When it comes to relationship, you do not want to compromise. You are here to relate to people from a place that's very warm, intimate, transparent, and that's something you do not want to compromise on. It's so important for you, because if you do that, your life could just kind of be a continuous hunger for things that you're never going to get. So you want to really kind of have your vision and be surrounded with people that can nurture that vision. And in that case, there's going to be a lot of playfulness, a lot of adventure when you stay true to what's right for you and not compromise on that. So yes, cool. Let's see if we have anything more in the group. Okay, so that was the hurricane. It hasn't arrived yet. It stayed over Bahamas for a long time, like 40 hours, and I was slowly moving here, but it looks like the Gulf, like the warm water is going to push it up north, and that it's hopefully going to stay in the sea and not go in the coast. So let's hope. I still have internet. It's been raining a lot, and that it's cool. This is a really cool post that had to do with the gut heads. I think I might be able to get some more information on it. There were some links posted. This is really something that I think is super fascinating for people who want to go deeper, or just kind of have, are interested in this kind of archetypes, the gut heads. And here is the Delta Fellowship affirmation. This is something to just tap into if you're interested in the program. The ambassador program is not going to be, we don't know when the next round is. So for now, it's kind of on hold. So this is probably, if you want interaction, the Golden Path is a self-study program. But if you want interaction, this is probably Delta Fellowship that is the best program to go into with the Gene Keys. And there's more information on the website. Let's see. I know there are more charts. Okay, here we have one chart again. And there was a question here, actually. I love when there are questions. Let's see if I can open the post. Okay, the ego. Yeah, 2145 and then 4250. Okay, well, that's cool. And here people have already said something interesting. Okay, there are replies here. I haven't read those. Maybe I'll read them later. I just kind of see what I can say from it. So first of all, kind of what stands out to me is that it's a 3-6 profile. So that's a cool profile. It's kind of dramatic profile in a way. It's like you're going to bump into things in life, and you're kind of going to, you know, have to be robust in a way to deal with it. So your life is going to be always be kind of dramatic, I would say. At the same time, you can always trust your sacral authority. So if you tune into, you know, your sacral center, like your sacral chakra, and if you turn into your flow, I would say, then you have a lot of the core stability there. And you have that 4253 here, and it's about cycles. So you want to understand that your life is about cycles, and that you don't want to cut the cycles before they are ready. You also have the 5 that's really about the natural rhythm. So you want to really start to listen at those natural rhythms. And what can be really kind of a bit hard for a third line is to not cut, because the third line doesn't like failure and kind of can get frustrated, especially your manifesting generators. It can be frustrated and even angry, and then you want to get rid of something and you cut. And then those natural cycles, it might be, you know, 7 days or a month or 2 years, or we don't know, you know, those natural rhythms or cycles are not respected. And then that could create a lot of like having to start over again from zero, that feeling. And I mean, we never start off from zero, but there is a beauty for you in letting those cycles, you know, in listening to those natural cycles, really. And then there's the other beautiful things, like, you know, the open-headed and ajna, like you are somebody with a lot of ideas, with a lot of inquiry. They're here to find your own truth and not being influenced by others to be certain or to be, you know, in any way. And the same thing, the depth, and, you know, you finding other people like you. All these things can be activated in a beautiful way when you listen to your inner authority, when you listen to your sacral authority, when you're grounded in this rhythm of life that you have. And then when you are grounded in this, you have the ego that you're asking about. I see it as a kind of, it's a split definition. So it's like a kind of superpower that when this is activated, this can kind of, for me, this can be added as a super cool thing. But if you live from only here, I had an article on this, I think it was in April this year. I might have reposted it in the group, that really was about what happens when you live from the split and not from inner authority. And that is not, it's not a good idea, because you're here to really strategy and authority, right? That's in human design, what we repeat and repeat and repeat. You start from here, and then other things are going to activate correctly. So that superpower that you can tap into is really, I mean, we call this the money channel. It's like really you have authority, and you have also a beautiful synergy with others when you tap into your ego and your throat in a higher frequency, you can say. So you have a tribal leadership that is very, very strong, that you can tap into. And you have many ways, I would say, of expressing that tribal leadership, which is your own unique style, which is the kind of storytelling. You kind of don't have to point fingers at people, but you can kind of tell a story and make them understand. And you also have a lot of like spontaneous insight and truth in things. So all this is like, it's really, really a kind of superpower. And for that to come out correctly, you really, really want to tap into those cycles, to these natural rhythms. You want to stay in your playfulness and your innocence. And you are somebody who's going to be here. You're a kind of fighter. You're here to fight for what you believe in a way. You probably are going to learn a lot of things. And then at the end of the day, you kill the teacher. That is the 38 and the 39. Those are programming partners. And they are like that. They're hungry and they are fighters. And they are here to find the honor and the liberation of being, you know, unique. It's your own uniqueness that is expressed through these two programming partners. And then another thing, you know, is just to not look outside yourself for truth or direction. And I feel like it doesn't feel like a very, very big risk in you. I think it might happen in love, you know. I feel like in overall it wouldn't happen, but maybe in love relationship, there could be a sense of like meeting the other, or some kind of dynamic that could come from this open this open G center of like feeling the sense of direction or identity, depending on who you're with intimately. And then we have the open emotion center. So you can feel you can sense a lot what other people's emotions are. And you want to make sure to not avoid your own truth or walk on eggshells just because of that. You're here to speak your truth. You have a lot of activations in your throat, and you want to be able to express that truth. And you want to be able to express all the openness that you have without feeling afraid of conflict or anything like that. Yeah. So I think I'm going to stop here, and I might do another video with some of the other charts. Bye, guys.